like again, how it started was we talked about like it's kind of where's it going? The middle got fantastic, and I was thrilled with how this book ended. And my favorite chapter in that was, as far as the title of itself, was the choosing the love and the trust. And overall, there, the giving aspect that it really hammered home in that one there of the giving of your time. And the biggest part of that, and I think we're all guilty of it to a certain extent, is the so many people give to get something. But if you truly want to receive the gift of giving yourself, give without any strings attached. And I think they put in there the way she described it was it creates this unspoken barter system where you're given something because you're going to get something. And it was just a great reminder of when you can truly just give to give, whether it's of your time, whether it's of your resources, whether it's your information, right? When she's talking about building your team out with, you get to pass along this information, how many other people that they then share that information are you impacting through that? Like, give freely without anything tied to it. And I just thought that was such a great reminder on that one there. And just how that ultimately led into finding your enlightened self. And I did crack up when she was like, all right, you get to tap into this higher power. If you're ever watching a movie and all of a sudden you find yourself crying, it's like, all right, well, not so much crying, but you get excited about what's going on. You're living in this higher self. You're not so tied up in the little things. You're not letting the little stuff bother you. And when she's talking about it reminded me a lot of The Secret when we read that one years ago about the manifesting stuff and just living this subconscious. What are you putting out you're going to attract? So are you putting out positivity and are you going to surround yourself with positive people? Are you putting out negativity? And ultimately that comes down to, she talks about, what are you feeding your subconscious? And if you're going to feed your subconscious that you're constantly going to be on the lookout for positivity and positive interactions and being around good people in good situations, it was a great reminder of that, of just what is the life that you want to live? Do you want to live in fear or do you not? And do so by just making sure you're constantly reinforcing your subconscious with good things around it. So overall, I thought it was a very good, strong finish to the book on this one here. And I think, you know, like I mentioned, I didn't think it started off fantastic, but the way it finished, and I still go back to that grid of living that whole life from last week. And I thought about that quite a bit, even this week, of just all the different areas where I can honestly say, like, feel blessed with her 9 grid square of all those areas I can check off and say, yes, there's good things going on all of that. It's leaving that well balanced whole life. So I don't know. I have really enjoyed this one, surprisingly. So that's my takeaways on this one.
All right, I guess I will follow once again. So completely agree. Started off really slow. Where are we going? Really loved the middle portion with the grids and the direction and living that whole life. And these last few chapters, great, enlightening. I really liked how she talked about trusting your intuition and really kind of focusing on the direction that that can take you in your life. And then I mean, I think the biggest takeaways overall were just take action. Because if you want changes in life, if you want, to achieve your goals and things like that, it starts with action, nothing else, and nobody's going to do it for you. So really, I think this is a great book for somebody who may have the challenge of taking action, and because it can give you ways to start baby steps. Um, and I think probably why, similar to some of these other books, why I'm like, oh, this isn't like my absolute favorite book, is because taking action has always been a core value of mine, that it's never been something I've been challenged with. But I think it is a great reminder that we're all on different paths. We're all at different stages in our lives when it comes to achieving our goals, taking action, getting, out of our bubbles. And one of the things she says on page 196, as long as you can remember that life is an ongoing process of learning, you won't have the disgruntling sense that you haven't made it yet. And I think that that kind of brought me back to where she talked about, right? There's two paths, like in either way you go, there's no failure. It's just there's goodies along the way and there's lessons, right? And no failure because you took action. So I just thought that was a great way to slowly end the book of we're all on different paths and no matter what, right, we're all trying to make it, but there's really no like truly end of making it because making it is the lessons and the action and the things that we're conquering along the way. So, good book. I think it's useful for, again, somebody maybe who is either going through challenges right now and isn't sure which direction to take, or even like some of the younger generation where they need a little structure to their action.
Both of you, that was awesome, Crystal and Chris. I like your ending statement. Structure to their action.
And sometimes, like say with the action taking, I cracked up on there. It's like that's definitely a difference between her and I. Like I will overanalyze. I'll make sure I'll like get something, then take off on it, or she's just straight ahead. I think of like from bowling, I'm absolutely making sure the bumpers are going to be set up. I'm going to like really dial it in. She's just like, I don't care what lane. Like she could be bowling on the wrong one. Like we're not even going for it, but it's like we're still bowling. But it's like, yeah, that's definitely a difference. So we feed off each other good in that side. It's a good compliment. I think it'll work out.
That's what makes a good partnership, you guys.
Anybody, anybody, feel free to go.
I'll jump in there real quick. Can you guys hear me good? I hear my echo. Okay. I agree with Crystal and Chris. I did like the end of the book. One of my favorite things, well, before I read this, something Crystal said, oh, it's the journey. We're all on different journeys. Yes, we're all on different journeys, but we're all going through the same thing, right? Like in whatever aspect of the journey that we're in, we're all going through the same thing. And then even the book like reiterates, and you're gonna keep going through it because there's no getting out of the process of fear along the way. So one of them was I lost my, oh, there it goes. The path is much like the experience of a climb of a mountain. The climb is tough, but each time you stop to look around, the view becomes more spectacular. So I just really like that. It was just like, yeah, you're tired, my feet hurt, my lower back, everything hurts, but every time you stop, the view's so nice. You try to capture it with your phone, but you never get it on your phone the way you see it, like with your eyes. Um, I did love the chapter about giving back your time, the thanks, even something as simple as like the assignment that he assigned his students, like go home and thank your partner. And his students like, for what? He's lucky I'm even there, like that. And how hard they all found it. Some people didn't even do it, and how hard they all found it to go home and thank their partner. And then there was even an exercise there, like think of all these people and write down all their contributions and then email them or text them. I didn't do that, but I thought about it. It's like, yeah, I am grateful for this, that, and the third. But one of the things that I did write in the margin, because it said, give thanks, give your money, give your love, give your time. I put there on the margin, like, give your forgiveness too, right? Because when you give out forgiveness, it's not about the other person, it's really for you. It's just kind of you releasing whatever that person did to you or that kind of thing. And then a couple, the last chapter or the one that it was saying to connect to your spirituality so you can find all the fulfillment and everything. I found myself even before getting to that chapter already writing things down that reminded me of like passages from the Bible, right? Like certain things it was asking you to do or say. And I would just like, oh, there's a corresponding passage to that. There's another one for that. And I just started writing them on the margin because I am on that like journey to reconnect, right? I was born and raised in church and I kind of left for a while. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm going back. Like I want to go back to having that kind of relationship. So I do find ways, including reading books, even when they say like higher powers, higher things, I do find ways to reconnect it back to myself in that way. Um, and then in the giving chapter, keep remembering that you are aiming to get to the point where you are the giver. And even there was like a little example about how when we're babies, we're takers, and that's how we survive basically. But then when your parent is looking at you and they get joy and they smile just from looking at you, the baby becomes the giver. Like they give that essence or whatever that the parent can feel, the joy of just having them around. So then the next one was if you see that your purpose in life is to give, then it's almost impossible to be taken advantage of. If someone takes, they are simply fulfilling your life's purpose. Um, And I really like that. I think it's like a reframe of a mindset, like most of these books are. But yeah, I mean, I really liked it. Favorite chapter was the giving, choosing love and trust, and I enjoyed it.
Anybody care?
I
Go
could
ahead,
jump in
Justin.
here. So last week I actually had read ahead. It's like the only the second time I've actually read ahead in the books in the book club. So that's kind of exciting.
You felt proud of yourself?
But and I had planned on take my book on the plane with us for Destin, but I forgot it. So I slept instead. But anyway, so I do have a little bit left to read. However, that being said, I did have just a few takeaways that really kind of stood out to me. So in the book, she talks about the self-talk shifting. And it really kind of is something about how you can control. She says you can control what's happening around you, but you can't always control what's happening but you can always control what's happening in you. And so I felt like that kind of stood with me just because obviously I am in control. It makes me feel like I'm in control of what actually the narrative I'm telling myself. And sometimes when we look back, the narrative that we told ourselves isn't really the actual narrative that's happening. So to have that kind of power is kind of um, powerful. So it's something about how you can really, um, I guess, really the power that we actually have to experience new things and the way that we have the power to then control what that feels like and what we want to think about it. The other part was that line that she really talks about feeling fear when we try something new. I thought that was pretty powerful just because we all are trying something new all the time. And really, it takes away the idea that fear is a stop sign. So we don't have to stop at that point. And actually, like Lola, you just said, like it's a never-ending process. So the fear will always be there. So the more you practice it, the less the fear will be present. And I think that's something that we can control and really can come to light. It's more prevalent for me at this moment in time in this chapter of my life. So that kind of stood out to me. So those are the two biggest takeaways from the last parts that I really went over before I passed out on the plane. So I'll finish it up over the one, but I'm looking forward to the next book. So exciting.
I finished the book last prior to last session, and I get such a joy listening to all of your comments and your joy. My rating of the book is not, it's not way up there given, some of the epic reads that we've read. But what has driven for me deep uh, is when I'm actually in the business day, this book has actually provided a neural pathway stop or a decision matrix saying, now you could be fearful about that, or it has then the questions, you yes, no, and then the next step in a logical manner. And what it's caused me to do is take a look at why I'm thinking that way, to address it, to ask the multiple decision step questions. What happens if you go this way, and not overdo it? There have been some other chapters that have been pretty amazing. But I did like given, so anyway, going through that decision steps, that's been very, very important for me. And it's really been a signpost. So there has been an effect. And I was giggling at you, Chris, because when I was listening to it in the car traveling up and down the interstate, I was actually doing the grid with my finger in the windshield. So, okay, so where am I here? So just to be, you don't have a pencil and paper, you don't have the book in front of you, but I was actually doing the grid with my finger. People probably driving next to me probably thought I was goofy, but I really enjoyed the piece about forgiveness. Uh, the forgiveness piece, we all had that in our life and come to those places in time where we have to make those decisions. Either you're going to carry that level of bitterness, you're going to carry that level of thought. It can be destructive. And really, what you're doing is you're giving up your right to hold on to either bitterness or pain or what have you, whatever the wrongdoing was. So I was able to have some additional reinforcement with that and be able to drive down deeper. And then just being able to give. You know, we live in a world that is very needy. Whether it's our family, it's our very, very close friends. I'm noticing that a lot more here. I don't know in your parts of the world and the rest of the country, but I'm noticing it a lot here in Northern California. And it's not a California thing, so no lawyer California jokes here. But um, I actually think there are, just from an economic standpoint, an emotional standpoint, various life circumstances, people are out there. And so your greatest asset is to be able to absorb and to be able to embrace them. And the fear of that, because we live in a very digital, I call it text time society, that we've become neural pathway changed, where we resist giving people that extra moment. And I was encouraged by that, to our greatest gift to, I guess, to ourselves, but to others, is to spend that extra moment and listen and to hear and to be able to reach in and touch people in a very significant way, especially in the day and age in which we live. So again, sitting here on this book club is a real joy, listening to each of you, and appreciate sharing.
I can go next. Thank you, Ron. I agree. I've been here maybe just a little over a month, but I'm finding that yeah, listening to other people's perspectives and hearing your interpretations has become really interesting and valuable. So yes, thank you all for letting me in as well, and letting me share some of my experiences and thoughts. I really enjoyed the middle part of the book. I found that I was able to relate to it quite a bit. The fact that we're always constantly expecting something, and then when it doesn't happen, we're disappointed. So I'm trying to figure out how to, of course, manage my expectations, and yet understand what could I have done differently versus what do I have to let go of, because I really could not directly affect the outcome, but what I can affect is how I look at things. It also talks about giving thanks and praise. And I find that I've got a few examples to share. One is that I was reading a short while ago, and it talks about, you know how you're in the car and you let somebody come in front of you, whether you use the word, you let them in or you let them cut in. And I absolutely hate when I let someone in and they don't give me the wave, because it feels like, even though I think I'm kind of doing a nice thing, I feel somewhat used. I guess I have to try and figure out that that's maybe not really what's happening, but I do the opposite. Whenever someone else lets me in, I give them the wave, because I always think maybe my good behavior is going to kind of roll off into them, and they'll get that, you know what, if we work together on the road, because we got no choice, that maybe they'll then acknowledge somebody next time. So that's something I've learned about myself. And as far as, yeah, it not taking very much to talk with people, to give praise, something I think we can all do. And it says here, it costs nothing. I mean, how could anything be better than that? Um, the part where they talk about your higher self, I know for me that part of the book is going to need much more work. Um, it's a little out there for me. Not that I agree or disagree with it, but just for me, it's going to take a little bit more work to understand that. And then the trusting your intuition. I'd love to hear if any of you've got some great stories, but one that I'd like to share, and this does not come easy for me to share, but a few months ago, I just kind of had this feeling that I'm okay. Life's going to be okay. And for me, it was really hard to, the first person I told that to was Arlene. And for me, that was really hard to just say out loud, because it meant that I was declaring that, yeah, things are going to work out, whatever I am dealing with or whatever may come in the future. And it was really powerful and really freeing, but yeah, really kind of scary. So that's a new one for me. I do believe in trusting your intuition, but being able to, yeah, whether it's giving it over to a higher self or a power, yeah, that one takes a little bit for me to just kind of feel comfortable in. And then the last part, patience and trust. In my family, we have a saying which is flaggers don't come with much patience. We're not a patient family, but patience, I guess, is about the planting the seeds and understanding that the things we do now are going to grow into the future and we can't always get what we want. So, trusting in that process is also something that I'm constantly on a journey of learning about. And saying yes to life. Um, I joined the book club. Yes, I'll do that. I'm a joiner. I like to get involved in things. And I think that that's what makes my life richer, more interesting, more exciting. Meeting all kinds of people and different perspectives is saying yes to a lot of things. And the last thing that I have to share is it talks about what do each of us have here to do, and it's really just to fulfill our own potential. So, all in all, I enjoyed the book. The last part got a little bit much for me, and it was kind of just very vague, but that's okay. The inner part to the middle of the book, I thought had some really good points and a few exercises that I have not done, but those are yet to come with some learning experiences. So yeah, good choice.
Well, we're super happy to have you, Rhonda, and have your energy on the call. So thank you for being here. We're honored to have you as well, and
Oh,
great feedback on the book.
Jay and everyone, no, thank you so much.
I'll jump in real quick. The about the first 10 minutes, I thought I had to make sure I was reading the right book. But yes, so I get a lot out of this listening to you guys, and this one maybe more than others that I just listened to it, and I think the most so not finished, but the thing that definitely resonates is and I cannot remember. I've been trying this whole time to remember what she refers to the inner voice, the little busybody, chatty something. Well, I can't remember how she says it, but um, for sure, just as many times as that is referred to throughout the book, in kind of treating it as this isn't just like thoughts, but I liked the imagery and actually kind of making it this inner voice that is telling you whatever the naysaying or the worries or the doubts or the all the things that it could be. You got to quiet it. Here's techniques to quiet it. First you got to recognize it, and I think that's super helpful. Yeah, I mean, just full candor. And I didn't check to see when it was written, but some of the things would throw me off about listening to the tapes at night. And so I know it wasn't written last year. Um, but again, I think the content's good. I think this is one more than others that I've probably gotten more from your guys' takeaways than me listening to it for whatever reason. But there are certainly nuggets that I appreciate. First and foremost, recognize the inner voice, and you can label it fear, you can label it whatever, and then use these techniques to combat it.
Okay, hi.
Hey, Shannon.
Hey, this is my first time to this book club. I knew what was going on, but I didn't know what was going on. Anyways, that's excuses. Okay, so did I have a chance to read
You
the whole
said
book?
it.
Did I have a chance to read the book? No, I bought it last night at 7 o'clock. Okay, but I did highlight. I don't know where you guys are in the book. There's two things, and I don't know if you keep this to 30 minutes or not, but here we go. The first thing is time. I think time is the most expensive commodity ever. You can never get it back. And I find when I give time and someone's not thankful, that makes me angry. Period. End of story. I think you waste my time. But it's never ever a waste if you find value in it. Doesn't matter if the other person did. So that's my takeaway on that. A second thing was she said, security is not having money. It's knowing you can do without it. I think our society lives like we got to have money. We got to have money to have fun. We got to have money to go out. We got to have money for hanging out with the right people, etc., etc. When my children got married, the one thing I said to them was, could you live with that person in a cardboard box? Like, you have nothing. You're just in this little shack, and could you love each other? And if you can't do that, then they're not the person to marry. And so one of my daughters actually was engaged and she broke up because she's like, my mom said if I can't live in a cardboard box. Did I feel bad about that? A little bit, but it's a really good thing to remember. Like, if you can't like hang out and laugh with this person and have fun and like have a picnic of just crackers, you're not going to enjoy it. So I loved being reminded of that. And also, Ron, I loved what you said about forgiveness. The past, uh, and I know that's not about me, I know it's about the book, but I think that when you're in a place of unforgiveness, nothing goes well. And I always say that health is the number one thing, but when you're in a place of unforgiveness, you feel sick all the time. And it's really for yourself to forgive. And so yeah, I liked what she said, that to go into a room, put on some music, think about that person and send love. And yeah, I think I'll do that after this call. So,
I
anyways,
think I think the cardboard box, Shannon, is actually great advice. I don't think you should feel bad about it because I think if I mean, love is way more than all the material things. So like if being with that person and spending time with that person makes you happy no matter what, then I think it's good advice. I've never heard the advice before, and I think it would be advice that I would give my kids. Because you never know what's going to happen in life. You're not in control all the time. So I think it's great advice.
well, did that guy come back to me and give me trouble? He sure did. I'm like, well, no big deal. Yeah.
Doctor and Catherine or Jonah?
We're simplifying our life. Thank you for that, Shannon. This is our new home. I can't wait. Like, we're gonna free up everything. This is tremendous. I love book club.
Hey guys, I'm new here. I honestly didn't know about this book group until about an hour ago, so I don't even know what book you're reading, but I just decided, you know what, I want to be around people who are excelling and growing and pushing their boundaries and not just getting influenced by the people that they see and interact with every day, but by the people that they want to become like. And there are people on here, all of you, that I would like to become like. And you did share some wisdom. The thing that stood out to me the most was what Lola shared about when sometimes when people are taking, that could actually be you fulfilling your life's purpose. So rather than feeling taken advantage of, and correct me if I misinterpreted that, feeling taken advantage of when people take, you could actually give thanks that all is well in the kingdom, and realize that that's divine order and be forgiving of that. I always say life is forgiving, but it's really not just forgiveness. It's forgiving. It's forgiving. So if somebody takes, like, I just try to see it as they probably needed that more than maybe I thought I did. But I've been telling myself I need to read more books, so I thought I would jump into the fire with you all. So sorry I'm unprepared.
No, no, Jonah. So listen, let me just kind of give you what this is. We've been doing this. Chris, you know the number better than I do. We've been doing
January
this since
2019.
yeah, so 7 years we've been doing this every Wednesday. So what we do is we read 15 pages a day, 5 days a week, which ends up being 75 pages a week, which you can probably do in 15, 20 minutes every day. Just wake up, but I do it in the morning so it's out of the way and it gets my mind fresh. And then we meet on Wednesdays and we do this. We just all give our takeaways because after you read 75 pages, maybe you forget some of what you read and someone reminds you of what you read. So that's why we do this, just to kind of give our own individual takeaways. And, sometimes critics like Chris will critique books that aren't that good. That we've read, like Sapiens. No, but we can critique the books and say, hey, what we like, what we don't like, what we connect with. So that's the whole point. Just take a few minutes once a week. And actually, really, it's just set up for accountability. I created this because I wanted to read more and I wanted to read more consistently. And so that's the reason I did it, because now every week I show up, I've got people counting on me to give away takeaways and have a conversation. So that's the whole point. But I don't even know how many books. I know we're probably over 100, maybe
I was just
125
gonna
books.
ask. Lola's got to have the count. Like, what are we? What
I
is?
don't have it all together. I have it spread out by years, but definitely over a
Yeah,
100.
let's get that. Let's get that number for the next time. Well, that'd be interesting. I
Okay.
would like. We should have a tracker on Facebook, like
Okay.
how many books that we read. I think that would be cool. So there's a the Facebook group, the Next Level Book Club. You always know what book we're reading, and then we'll talk about the book today we're reading next. So that gives you time to order the next book, and
And I put it there in the chat for you guys, Shannon, Jonah, like the links and all that stuff.
Yeah, and you can always go to the Wellness Rev. The book will always be updated on the website as well. What we're currently reading, it will be updated on the Next Level Book Club. Lola puts all the information in there when we're reading new books, when the meetings are, the Zoom links, but also the Zoom links are on the Wellness Rev website too. But glad to have you here, Jonah. Dr. Catherine,
Oh, sorry, I'm driving. I'm going to a meeting, so I figured I
don't
would log
worry.
in. All right, so funny, Jonah, that you said that you joined and you don't know what the heck this is, but you just wanted to be around people because I'm not 100% done with the book. I still have like 20 pages left because I've had a lot going on. But I loved, and it had to do with, we all got together this weekend and there was a quote, and I'm going to read it. I hope I don't actually, I'm just kidding. It says, "It's amazingly empowering to have the support of strong, motivating, and inspirational group of people around you." I love that, and that's what this weekend was for those of us that were there. I think it makes a big difference in life, obviously, and you've heard this a million times. Like we've talked about how this book, for a lot of people, wasn't anything super new, and people that are on here, it's because they're reading other books that are like this, and we've all heard this, but it's great to read it again and like remind you of that. I definitely like the middle part. I think some people said that too. I like that better. I know I wasn't here last week, but the part that said the like win-win situation or whatever, like when you're deciding two things, like you're going to win regardless. Doesn't matter. I thought that was really cool. And then I'm just going to tell you all a funny story. That really, like when you read books like this, you like think about it. Like we were all talking about, like they were saying how you have to be positive and be Pollyanna about it, and positive things. And it's definitely, as I grow as a person, I have become a little bit less reactive and try to have a positive outcome in life. So this weekend, I was literally walking to the beach because I was looking at some condos, whatever. I was trying to figure out how far from the beach was, and I get a text from my daughter who's 19, who her car was in something was wrong with it, and we ended up getting a rental. She lives about 2 hours away from my house. She had a rental car, and she goes, "Mom, I can't find the keys." I was like, "What do you mean you can't find the keys? I've been looking for them for like 12 hours. I don't know where they're at." And I was like, "Well, where did you see them last?" "At the bar I was at last night." I was like, I wanted to just like reach across the phone and kill her. And here I am in this beautiful area looking at this beach, really trying to like deep breaths. Okay, let's think about the positive things. And I call her and she doesn't answer, of course, right? Because I'm like, let me talk to you. It's all through text because she's 19. So all through text, I'm sorry, I'm looking for them. I'm going to go back tonight, but it doesn't open till 10. I mean, I don't know. She's like, I didn't even really drink that much. And I can't, it wasn't that. I don't even know how they felt. And I'm just like trying to like take a deep breath and think of the positive. I'm like, okay, well, she's not dead. Nothing happened to her. She's alive. It's fine. It's just some keys. If she loses them, it's only going to cost me like $800 for this Audi set of keys. But it's okay. Think positive. She's going to find them. Let's pray about it. And thankfully she did. She called me like at 10:30. She's like, I went and somebody found them and they were there. But anyway, so think of positive things and that will, it didn't ruin my day completely. I wanted to kill her, but possibly, and at the end, things were okay. But, you think about the positive. She was okay. I think the 10 years ago, Catherine would have never thought of that. I would have just like screamed bloody murder. If she was in front of me, I probably would have hit her. Who knows? Thrown a shoe at her. I don't know what I would have done.
Sounds very Latin.
But, yeah. Huh?
It sounds very Latin.
There you go.
Throwing a shoe.
So I'm glad. Well, it's a very Latin. Yeah, I don't know. That chancla, throw something at it.
That's right.
So anyway, I'm glad to be a part of this, although I didn't really finish this book. I promise I will the next one. You always learn so much just from hearing from everybody else. I know what they say. So thanks.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being here. Cindy, I don't know if you want to go next or if you're just here observing. I know you kind of got on late, but if not, I will go. This book was written a long time ago, and it fascinates me, how so much has changed, but so little has changed when it comes to managing the mind and the way that we look at life, right? I mean, all the things that happen in life, all the big changes that people are stressed over are really just the same as they've always been. I mean, during the Industrial Revolution, during the technology revolution, during, all these things, people worry about things, and then life just kind of goes on and evolves and everything's okay. And that's kind of what I got out of this book. I do want to say something. I meant to say something last week, Crystal, when I was watching your stories and hearing the snow crunch under your feet when you were crunching. It definitely made me very appreciative when you were out walking with that crunchy snow and talking with that crunchy snow. And then I saw your stair stepper thing in your house, and you're like, I think I'm gonna go outside and walk today. And I was just thinking the snow. So anyways, I diverted, but I just remember hearing that message. I was like, there's still, like, you had like a light jacket on, but there's still snow on the ground. Like, it just is fascinating. So and then the other thing that I liked in this chapter was, thanking your partner. And I don't really know why that's so hard to do, for people, and I probably don't do it enough for my wife, and so that was a really good part of the book where I was like, what, I need to make more of a conscious effort to do that more. And then, the giving forgiveness for me was, I don't really stay upset with people very long. Even in my relationship, if if you spend a certain amount of time, people are going to get on your nerves and whatever. And I just don't allow that to disrupt my day and get upset about things over little things. And so, but I do think that forgiveness, I think either Lola was saying or someone was saying, like, being able to do that is more for yourself than the other person. But I would say it's more for the other person too, because some people don't know how to, they don't know how to forgive, and they know deep down inside that they've done something wrong. And if you're able to forgive people, I think you can also teach the world that we don't have to be caught up in little things, because most of the times if people are pissed off about something, it's over something really little that's not going to affect your life in that big of a manner, right? I mean, some people do some really bad stuff, and they forgive those people because carrying that and letting that person carry that is just not a good thing. And then the expectation thing. So this is something I've been working on for 10 years. And you talked about this, Shannon, too, but I feel like when we give with zero expectation, if it's love, if it's affection, if it's money, if it's, just a listening ear, most people are not going to appreciate you giving that. And I feel like we have to understand that. And then if you're giving and you get nothing back, it should make you feel really amazing. And if you just keep giving and giving and giving and you want something back and you don't get it, that's where you got to make a decision in your life, right? And so she said in here, when we give from a place of love rather than from a place of expectation, more usually comes back to us than we would ever imagine. And I think that's true. It might not come in the exact moment, but I was having a conversation with my brother, and he's in a new relationship. He's been in the relationship now probably 140 days. And he was telling me that she changed and, she's not the same as she was in the first 90 days. And I was like, because her agent was representing her in the first 90 days. She wasn't really who she was until that 90-day, 120-day period goes by. And now you're getting to know who she is. And he was like telling me, like, I'll reach for her hand and, I'll say things. And he was giving me some ridiculous text that he was expecting her to say back to him. Like, and I was like, she said, something, but maybe there was a missing word off of what he wanted to hear. And, I was just like, you can't say something expecting something in return, because her brain is not your brain. She might be in a moment of thinking something different in that moment. And so anyways, I feel like that expectation thing is really important. And it says, also she said, adopt an attitude of it's all happening perfectly. Let's see what good I can create from this situation. And, you know, I meet with a therapist, you know, from time to time just to work on me and my inner self, and I just think it's healthy to do that. And one time he said to me, you know, well, what if, let's just say worst case scenario, this happened that I was talking about, you know, a worry or a fear that I had. And I was like, well, you know, the universe always takes care of me, so I'm not that worried about it. And he was like, but you just told me this, and it's a concern, but your first response is that. And where do you live most of the time? And I said, I usually live over here where the universe is always going to take care of me. It's not a big deal when I'm having that inner battle or conversation in my brain. And so when I read this, I was like, that's what I feel. Like it's always, but for some reason, like Lola said last week, why do we spend more time in a negative space versus a positive space? And that's this statement I wrote down on my phone and put it on my screen and was like, this is something I want to read every day that I wake up, because whatever's happening in that moment or that day, what can I create from that situation? What can I make better? And then the other thing is about expectations. If we are constantly expecting, we will spend a great deal of our lives disappointed that the world is not treating us right. And the last thing that I will say, it says, if I didn't find a way out of this painful state of existence until my 30s, when it finally dawned on me that no matter how much I had in my life, and this is totally me, this is me being completely vulnerable, and I gotta get past this. Nothing would ever be enough. The more I had, the more I wanted, more love, more money, more praise. And I do, you know, I'm always not really appreciating where I've come, what I do. I was on a morning walk, you know, 2 days ago, and it was, you know, 8:30, and, you know, I'm seeing a lot of traffic and people going to work, and I just had a moment. I was like, listen, I built this life that I can actually not wake up in the morning and have to be in a rush. I can read, I can meditate, I can take my dog for a walk, I can spend time with my kids, I can go to the gym, and I get to start my day and finish my day when I want to finish my day. And that moment I had this great amount of gratitude in my life about what I've created, because the other side of my mind is always like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to build this has to be that. And so that's like the battle that I have on all the time. I'm mostly on this side of what I have to do and what I want to create. And when I turned 50, I was telling my wife the other day, when I turned 50, I understand a clock with a woman that wants to have a baby. Finally, at 50, I understand it. Because at 50, I'm like, I got 15 years, you know, to actually build the legacy that I want to build and be kind of done. Even though I look at Trump and he's 82 and this man works, you know, all these hours, like all the hours, he's always working. And not that I say I respect Trump, I'm just saying at 80, he's still grinding out. But I don't think I want to be at that place when I'm 80. You know, so for me, it's like a defined 15 years to hit the goals that I want to hit. So it's like appreciating what I've got and appreciating where I want to go, but having that equal balance. And I think, you know, for me, what this book has helped me is to take the fear out of that 15 years, take the fear out of, you know, the unknown of what it's going to look like when I'm 65 years old. So for me, the book was a great reminder of what it's going to check. And what you said, Jonah, like these books really are just that. I mean, we have I believe we have she put in the chat 105 books. I mean, we have completed 105 books. You don't read 105 books in college, you know, in 4 years that you're in, you know, and we've read books that have to do with life, and, you know, business and leadership and all of these things. Oh, was it 104? Okay, sorry. I thought it was 105. 104.
I'm just saying we canned that one book. I mean, we got 104 and a half.
Oh yeah, that's true. We did can that one book. So anyways, you know, in another 5 years we're at 200 books. Like, not many people could say they've read that many books in their lifetime that's helping them change their life. And not only are we doing it as a group, we're doing it, you know, with authors that have made a lot of mistakes. So I just, you know, I'm very grateful for you guys to show up. It makes me happy to see, you know, people show up. I can't wait to have 100 people on this thing, and you know, we have to draw out of a box who can share that week, because we have too many people on here to share. So I'm grateful for everyone here, and I'm grateful to be a part of this with you guys, and just keep inviting people in, and share your experience with people. All I would say is, everyone on here, my only challenge to you is to stick with it. The only people that have stuck with this book club for the last 7 years is Lola, Chris, Crystal. Well, Chris, but Crystal she's been a recent. Lola, Chris, and myself, and that's it. We've had people come and go out of it, but even when we had 2 or 3 people, I asked Chris if we should go to every other week, and he was like, "No way, we're doing this every week. Like we're gonna do this every week." And thanks to Chris, this book club's still alive because of you, because you demanded that we do this every week. So, the people that we're going to impact, the people that you're going to impact, is going to be really, really big. And I'm just grateful to be on this journey with you guys. All right, so what's the next book, Lola?
The Infinite Game by
Okay.
Simon Sinek.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. And I put the link there in the chat on Facebook, and I'll put it in the Telegram chats in a little bit.
And Simon Sinek is the book that he wrote the book Start With Why. And did we read that book?
Yeah.
We did, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's a great author. #1 TED Talk, I think, still on YouTube. So great. I'm really looking forward to this game.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. We'll cover.
We can't choose the rules. We can only choose how we play.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right,
And we're
guys.
going to cover the first 75 pages of that one next week.
Awesome. Have a great week, you guys. See you next
Yeah.
week.
Bye, all. Have a great week.